Happy Tuesday. My name is Hayley, and I'm coming to you live from Alchemy Online Yoga here in Cochrane, Alberta. So wherever you are, welcome. Welcome to your mat and welcome to the next hour. This is going to be a power flow class, so lots of dynamic movement. We're working at building strength always through our core, our arms, our legs, building that heat and building that fire. But as always, if you ever need to take a break, it's really simple to do so. Just push pause on your phone or your laptop, whatever you're watching me on, and then just pick up. You'll just pick up where you left off. You can take a break at any time, either through child's pose or laying right down onto your back into a little mini break of a Shavasana. If you have props, you're going to want 2 blocks today. If you don't have blocks, you can grab books or just anything that'll bring the height up a little bit. Might also be useful to have a pillow. We're going to be doing some workshopping of crow pose today. So that's always fun, something different. It's kind of one of those inversions, those arm balances that are one of the first ones that we work on when we're moving towards headstand and eventually handstand and all those. Basically, the foundation is starting at crow. So we're going to work through that. So have 2 blocks close by, maybe one at the top of the mat on each side. And let's begin where we end. So that's going to be on our back, laying in that Shavasana pose, taking up as much room on the mat. Have the legs spread out nice and wide. Have the arms out at the sides, palms facing up. Make those little adjustments with your hips so that the lower back is felt glued onto the mat. If you're noticing any bony areas in those shoulder blades, go ahead and just maybe walk them under a little bit. That finds that more flat spot of the shoulder blade a little bit more comfortable. Maybe lift your chin up and then just gently place your head back down on the mat. You'll feel that length across the back side of your neck. Close your eyes and just become heavy. Take that big inhale through your nose. Then open your mouth and just sigh it out. Another big inhaling, filling up the sides of the lungs. Open your mouth. Sigh it away. Last big inhale, fill the bottom of the lungs right down into the belly. Open your mouth and... Now, if Ujjayi is in your practice, then go ahead and establish that now. That breath of fire. Working to elongate the inhales and the exhales. Finding that balance, that equal distance. And then just arriving here. With every breath, more onto your mat. And more importantly, more into your body. You can go ahead and set an intention for your practice, maybe a thought of gratitude or a dedication, and seal it in with this last long inhale and exhale. Flutter your eyes open and then draw both knees into your chest. Go ahead and grab your knees really close, wrapping the elbows around the outside of the knees. Even lift your head up, pull your chin into your chest, and just allow some simple rocking from side to side. Holding on to that right knee, take that left leg and extend it straight up, nice and straight. Point your toes of both feet, and then drop that left leg down to a hover, maybe about 1 foot off of the mat. Keeping it hovered though, not letting it drop down onto the mat. Now pull that right knee right up into your chest, pulling the shoulders up. We're going to hold here for the count of 3, or take your hands, let go of the leg, point them towards the bottom of the mat, and hold for 3. Lift the shoulders, 2.
Pull the belly button into your spine. 1. Good. And bring both knees back into your chest. Just let the shoulders drop down this time. Let the knees go side to side. Massage out that lower spine. Okay, lift the shoulders back up off the mat, pulling the chin into your chest. This time, hugging the left knee in with both of the hands. Extend the right leg, point the toes straight up. Leg is nice and straight. Kneecap is lifted, and then slowly drop that right leg down to a hover around 1 foot off the mat. Now pull that left knee in even closer. Everything's engaged here. You feel that lower back pushing down into the mat. Now let go of that leg, still keeping the knee hugged in. Extend the fingertips towards the toes and hold for 3. And breathe. That's 2. And last one. Bring both knees back into your chest. Let the shoulders come down onto the mat. And again, rock and roll side to side, massaging out that lower spine. We're going to work a little bit into the core just right off the bat here. And we need to do this just to basically find the foundation of our core muscle. I find that when I work my core, there's 2 benefits when I'm doing it right off the beginning of the class. I feel stronger in my balancing poses. I feel that my hips and my deep core strength is engaged. The second benefit is it's done. We don't need to do it at the end of the class. So from here, let's take that right leg and extend it back down to a hover. Toes are pointed. Let go of the left knee and then just bring it to that 90 degrees between the hip and the knee. Take the hands behind the head, just light fingertip touch. And then from here, it's a little twist. This is these Yogi bicycle kicks. Bring the right elbow to touch the left knee. Exhale. Inhale back to center, switch the legs. Right knee comes up, left leg, and take the left elbow to touch. Let's do 10 more, a little bit quicker. Exhaling on the twist. That's the right knee, left, 8, 7, 6. Keep drawing the elbow up towards the knee. That's 4, 3, 2, 1. Now staying here, take both fingertips, pointing them towards the feet. Extend that right leg straight up. And then let's scissor the legs both up and down. Let's go for 10. Keep the shoulders lifted, belly button to spine. That's 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to bicycles. Start with the right knee, left elbow touches. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last 10, scissor. Both fingertips pointing towards the toes. Let's go. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Feel the burn. 2, 1. Good. Pull the knees into the chest. This time grabbing behind the thighs. Pull the knees in and then extend the arms up overhead. Let the feet come down to the mat. That big morning stretch. Stretch out those abdominals. Take a big breath in through your nose. Open your mouth and just let it go. Good. Everybody feels that fire. I'm already sweating, ready to go. Grab behind your thighs and just rock and roll. Maybe take about 3 of these, massaging out the length of your spine. Try and roll all the way up to your neck. And then on the third one, cross the ankles and just make your way into that tabletop position. Have your wrists stacked right below your shoulders. Your knees are hip-width distance apart. And then let's do some cat-cows. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the chin, lift the tail. And then exhale, arch the back up, really push the mat away, and then gaze right at your belly button.
Inhale, roll the shoulders back, drop the belly down, look up, cow. And exhale to that angry cat. Really grip your fingertips when you do this. One more time. Inhale, roll the shoulders, lift. And exhale, back to cat. Now, keeping the shoulders protracted. So that means there's space between each of the shoulder blades. You're kind of bubbling that area or ballooning that area up. Flip under your toes. And then lift the knees to a hover, maybe 3 inches up off the mat. Keep pushing the mat away and keep gripping the mat with your fingertips. Engaging the belly a little bit more, drawing that belly button into spine, knitting those inner ribs together. Lift the right foot, hold it. Right foot down, lift the left foot, hold. Left foot down, take a full inhale, and then exhale, lift the tailbone up to the sky into down dog. You'll probably want to take a step back, just so that you have a little bit more room. Just allow your feet to paddle side to side. Maybe your hips are gonna sway. Let go of that head. Just let it fall, shake it yes and shake it no. Maybe making circles going to the right and then changing the circles to the left. If you can do everything together, then you get a little bit dizzy. Okay, let's come back to this stable down dog position. Make sure that the feet are hip width distance apart. There can be a generous bend into the knees. And if you're like me, those heels just are not touching the mat just yet. That's okay. Really knit those rib cages together. So you're building strength through that shoulder girdle, avoiding the slouching of the belly down. So it's one line of energy from the palms of your hands all the way up through the elbows and the shoulders that are relaxed down your back, and all the way up through the hips and out the tailbone. Let's do some waves here. Inhale, roll the back like a wave, coming all the way into that high plank, and then bend your knees, pull the hips back, and then raise the hips back to down dog. Roll like a wave. Coming forward, high plank, bend the knees, pull the hips back towards the heels, and then raise the hips. Let's do that 2 more times. Rolling one vertebrae by one vertebrae, ending with the chin, then bend the knees, pull the hips back, lift the tail down dog. Last one. Inhale, roll like a wave forward, high plank. Bending the knees, pulling the hips back to heels, and then raising the hips back up to down dog. Come forward into that high plank, and then lower the knees down, lower the chest all the way down to the mat. Those elbows are staying tucked in by the sides. Hands are right underneath the shoulder blades. Inhale, lift the chest into cobra. Exhale, forehead touches. Let's do that again. Inhale to cobra and exhale. Now with the forehead touching the ground, take the hands down by the hips. The palms are facing down to the mat. Keep the tops of the feet glued down to the mat. And this time, inhale, lift the chest and lift the hands. This is kind of a half locust. Now you feel this into your lower back. If you're feeling it all into the glutes, ask the glutes to just let go here. Lift a bit higher, look straight in front of you, and then exhale, lower down. This time, inhale, roll that chest up, arms up, and then big toes together. Lift the legs, full locust. Look in front of you. This time we're engaging the hamstrings and the glutes a little bit more. Lift a bit higher for 3, 2, 1. Forehead touches the mat. Let's take the hands right underneath the shoulders. Flip your toes under. And then inhale, cobra. Maybe go a little bit higher to that up dog. And then exhale either through tabletop or straight with those legs, lifting the tail to down dog. Feeling that flexibility into our lower back now. Take a look at that space between your thumbs and then slowly walk your feet, little steps, bending your knees, coming all the way up to the top of the mat. And then when your feet get there, making sure they're hip-width distance apart and just forward folding. Maybe taking opposite hands to opposite elbows. That just adds to the gravity of this. Letting the head go. Shaking it yes, shaking it no. Beautiful. Take the hands back down to the mat and walk them up your shins to that flat back half lift. You're looking for space from the tailbone shooting right out behind you to the crown of the head, reaching towards me. Let the shoulders fall down your back and the weight is up on the balls of the feet. Really light through the heels here. Take the arms, reach them up overhead, looking for a little bit more extension into the sides of the ribs. And then exhale, take the hands back to airplane. 2 more. Inhale, hands up overhead. Flat back, gaze is straight down. Exhale, hands to airplane. Last one. Inhale, arms up overhead. And exhale, hands to airplane. Put a bend into the knees and go back down to the forward fold. And then pushing into all 4 corners of the feet. Rise up, sweeping the hands out and up. Look up. Find that space where the hands meet in high prayer. And then exhale, hands to that heart center. Take a full inhale. And then exhale, sigh it out. Come back to Ujjayi, open up your eyes, and then inhale, sweep the hands out and up. Look up, really reach up, and then exhale, dive forward, still with those bent knees. Inhale to that half lift, and then take that right leg, extend it way back. Take a big step back, let the right knee come down onto the mat. Inhale, sweep the hands out and up, low runner's lunge, and exhaling, just settling down into this pose, drawing left hip back, pulling that belly button in towards your spine, avoiding that sagging, keeping everything pulled into center, even the inner thighs. Good, now look up. Work on that balance. Close the place between the hands. And then exhale, hands come down to the mat. Step that left leg back to find the front. And you're in that position to go chaturanga. Either first one, maybe from your knees or for your toes, lowering down halfway. Inhale, cobra or up dog. And exhale to down dog. Inhale that right leg up to the sky and then bend your knee and open up the hip. This is fire hydrant pose. Now the shoulders are staying square, pointing straight down to the mat, but you're lifting that right knee up even higher, feeling that stretch across the front of the right hip. Maybe draw a circle in reverse with that knee. 2 times and then change the direction. Good. Okay, close the hip, extend that leg straight back out, and then come forward into cheetah, pulling knee straight in towards your chest. Really lift the hips up high, protract across the shoulders. Lots of room here to step through with that right leg. The next inhale, rise up into Crescent Lunge. And checking that the feet are hip-width distance apart. We're going to keep on building onto this, so making sure that the feet, they're the foundation, always hip-width distance apart, is going to help when we move into the flying into the Warrior 3. Back leg is nice and straight. Bend into that right knee a little bit further. Look up, find that balance, close the space between your hands, and then exhale, hands come down. Take a big step, back leg comes up to find the front. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Pushing down into the feet to rise, look up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Let's do the other side. Inhale, reach, grow, stretch. And exhale, dive forward. Inhale, half lift. And exhale, this time, left leg steps way back. Left knee comes down to the ground. Inhale, low runner's lunge. And exhaling, just settling in. Now, if the shoulders aren't quite ready to have the hands up overhead, the hands can come to the hips. Everything's a suggestion here. If you're working that strength of the shoulders, just notice right now, are the shoulders kind of up around your ears? If they are, push them down. It's like I'm coming behind you and pushing those shoulders down. Scissoring those inner thighs together. Pulling that right heel back, pulling that navel into spine, knitting that place between the front rib cage, and then looking up and growing, reaching up, close that space between your hands. Exhale, hands come down. Good. Step right leg back and move through the vinyasa, chaturanga, lowering down, low plank. Inhale, up dog. And exhale to down dog. Inhale that left leg up to the sky, bending the knee, opening up into fire hydrant pose. Again, weight is centered on each of your hands. That right heel is pushing down towards the mat. And then that left knee is extending up. Draw 2 circles in reverse and 2 circles in the opposite direction. Now square the hips, extend that left leg out behind you, and then come forward into cheetah. Left knee is pulling right up towards your nose. Lift the hips, protract those shoulders, and a chance to step that left foot down. If it doesn't get there, then just grab the foot and work it up. Inhale, crescent lunge. When you're ready, scissor those inner thighs together, and exhaling, settling down into this pose, feeling that stretch along the front of that right hip. Feeling that you're up high onto the toe. Maybe the heel is stacked right over top of the ball of the foot. And then that deeper bend into that front knee, building that strength here along the quadricep. Pulling that belly button into your spine. Look up, reach up, grow out of the sides of the ribs, close the hands, and then exhale, hands come down. Big step, right foot finds the left. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Push down to rise up, arms come up overhead. And exhale, hands to heart center. Another big inhale through the nose. Open your mouth and sigh it away. Let's add on to this. Sit down into that imaginary chair, Utkatasana. Take the fingertips, just graze the top of the mat, and then the hands coming up in front of you, and then overhead. Putting all the weight into the heels, wiggling all 10 toes, drawing that belly button into the spine, avoiding that sagging of the belly, relaxing the shoulders, and maybe even smiling, sitting down even lower, and even lower. Good. Take that inhale, and then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, right leg steps back into crescent lunge. Inhale, rise up. Hands up over the head, and exhaling, dropping in a little bit further. Now I said, have those feet hip-width distance apart will help us to fly. We're going to go there now into Warrior 3. Bring the hands down at the hip, and then just bending at the torso at about 45 degrees so that the crown of the head is reaching up towards the corner of the room. Keep drawing that left hip back. Keep drawing the shoulder blades down. And now your gaze is just in front of the left foot. When you're ready, step onto that left foot and rise up. Warrior 3. Straighten that standing leg. Straighten that floating right leg. foot can be flexed. That helps with the balance. And then inhale, arms come up overhead, just like we did at the beginning of the class with our half lifts. And then exhale, hands swoop back into airplane. 2 more. Inhale, reach the fingertips overhead. And exhale, hands come to airplane. 1 more time. Inhale, arms overhead. And exhale, hands to hips. Put a bend back into the standing leg. Step way back, high crescent lunge. Inhale, lift the arms, look up, take that back bend. And then exhale, hands come down to the mat. Step back, maybe 3 points of contact. Vinyasa. Inhale, up dog. And exhale to down dog. Take a couple breaths here. Let the heart rate come back down to normal. Okay, let's add on. Inhale that right leg back up to the sky into that fire hydrant pose just for a second, and then straighten the hips, close. Everything's pointing straight down, and then come forward, bringing that right knee right up towards that right elbow. If it can touch, even better. Maybe you have to push off the left toes. Now that knee's touching the right elbow, drop it down, grazing the forearms to the wrist, and then pull it back up. 2 more. Lower to the wrist, pull it back up. Gripping the mat with your fingertips, last one. Pull it back up, lift the hips even higher, and then right foot steps down between the hands. Plant that back foot, warrior 1. Rise up. Whew. Everybody feels the heat there, right? Into the core, the heart rate went up, the breath went up. Find that warrior 1. This is where the heart rate settles back down. If you want your hands at the hips to help with that. When our arms are overhead, just a little bit more work on our heart to get the blood all the way to the fingertips. Warrior 1 stance. Draw that left hip forward, right hip back, bending a little bit further, feeling that stretch along the back of the calf. Again, inhale, look up, close the space between the hands, and exhale, hands come down. Take a big step, back leg comes up to meet the front. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold, and then sitting down into the imaginary chair of Utkatasana. Arms up overhead. Now the feet can be hip-width distance apart, or you can bring the big toes together. Everybody's got their way. It doesn't so much matter. What matters the most is the weights into the heels, the belly button's drawn in. You can wiggle all 10 toes. You're sitting down lower and lower. Last little bit, and exhale, forward fold. Whew. Inhale, half lift. This time, left leg steps way back. Inhale, rises up, high crescent lunge, and exhale, settling in here. Feeling the front big toe, and the little toe, and the heel. Draw that right hip back, and then hands come to airplane, bending at the hips, 45 degrees. 1 line of energy, back leg is nice and straight. We feel this in the outer glute of that right hip, as well as the quad, as well as the inner thigh of that back leg. That back leg is still working. And then when you're ready, step onto the right leg and fly into warrior 3. Keeping both hips level, you'll have to drop that left hip, straighten that leg. Back leg is straight, foot is flexed. Inhale, arms up overhead. And exhale, hands to hips. Inhale, reach the hands overhead again. And exhale, hands to airplane. Last one, you've got this. Inhale and exhale. Put a bend into the standing leg, step way back. Inhale, high crescent lunge, look up, take that back bend, and then exhale, hands down to the floor. Float that right leg, vinyasa. Up dog and down dog. Inhale that left leg
up to the sky, bending at the knee, opening up that hip for just 1 second, and then squaring the hips. Straighten that leg, and then pull left knee all the way up to that left elbow. Push off the right toes. See if it can touch. 3 times. Lower the knee to the wrist. Drop back up. Lower it down. Draw it up. Last one, lower to the wrist. Drop back up. Pull the knee into center. Lift the hips. And step down. Right between. Warrior 1. Rise up. Whew. And settling in. Drawing left hip back, right hip forward. There's a twisting right in through the middle of your spine. Both shoulders are facing forward. The pinkies are pulling inwards. The more we pull the pinkies in, that just helps for the shoulders to relax down the back. Bend a little bit further into that front knee and push that back ankle away, just feeling the intensity of that stretch up the back of your calf. Inhale, look up, reach up, grow, and then exhale, hands come down, take a big step, right foot finds the left, inhale, half lift, exhale, forward fold, push down in all 4 corners of the feet, rise up, and exhale, hands to heart center. So I'm sweating. Go ahead and grab a drink of water. We're going to build onto this a couple more times, still working into this, and then we're going to pull the crow pose as well as side crow. Grab a drink, and then when you're ready, come back up to the top of the mat. Relaxing the shoulders down your back. Feet are hip width distance apart. Chin is slightly tucked in. Crown of the head reaching up towards the ceiling, towards the sky. There's the grounding of your feet into the earth. And then there's a growing, a lifting, finding new space. Standing up a little bit taller. Open your eyes. Inhale, reach the hands up overhead. And then exhale, sitting down into that imaginary chair, Utkatasana, chair pose again. This time, bring the big toes together with a slight gap between the heels. Sit down even lower. And then we're going into toe stance. Lift the heels up. Now the feet are going to shake here. That's good. That's what we're wanting. Keep the hips down nice and low, building that strength into the ball of the feet for 3, 2, 1, forward fold. Inhale to that half lift and exhale, step way back, right leg. Inhale, high crescent lunge. And exhale, hands to heart center. From here, we're going to stand straight up onto that standing leg, pulling that right knee 90 degrees into the hip, the knee, as well as the ankle. Take that right hand down onto the knee, or maybe peace fingers to the big toe, extending that leg out nice and straight. And then start to open up the hip. That right knee goes off to the right. Left arm counterbalances to the left. Keep pulling navel into spine. Maybe the gaze comes out over those left fingertips. Bring everything back to center. This time the left hand is going to cross over the right knee and extend that right arm behind you, revolve twisting. Keep that foot flexed, kind of like it's standing on a stair or a block. See if you can look out behind you to see that right thumb. Getting wobbly here, that's good. Come back to center. Take the hands down by your hips. Extend the leg nice and straight. Lift it up higher and higher, a little bit higher, and then extend it out behind you. Warrior 3. Bend into that standing leg, step way back. Crescent lunge, inhale. Take that back bend, look up. And exhale, hands come down, floating left leg through that vinyasa, either or going to your knees. Inhale, up dog, and exhale to down dog. Inhale that right leg up to the sky. Open up the hips. Fire hydrant here. You can choose to stay here, or I'm going to guide you through flipping the dog. Come up onto the left tippy toes, shift the shoulders over top of the wrists. With that left leg straight, let the right leg drop down. Inhale, lift the hips up nice and high, and reach that right arm towards me. Keep lifting the hips, looking back, and then exhale, make your way back to three-legged dog. Inhale, come forward, planting the foot, drop that foot and rise up. Warrior 3 this time. So in Warrior 3, there's heel to heel alignment, or maybe that front heel's in line with the arch of the back foot. And this time the back foot is in line with the back of the mat. Shoulders are relaxed. You should be able to see the big toe and the second toe of that front foot. Keep bending further down into that front knee. Relax your shoulders. Take the gaze out across that front middle finger. See if you can bend down even lower, building that strength, holding it for 3. Keep drawing that right knee to the right side of the mat. Feeling that stretch. Back leg is straight, last count. And then both hands come down to the mat. Take a big step, back leg reaches up to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift. And then exhale, sitting down into that imaginary chair. Utkatasana again. Arms are going to come up overhead, and then lifting the heels into toe stands. Again, building this strength in our feet, seeing if the heels can come right over top of the balls of the feet. Sit down even lower for 3. Last 2. Last 1. Dive forward. Whew. Inhale, half lift. This time it's the left leg that steps way back. Inhale, crescent lunge, rise up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, come to that standing on that right leg with the left leg bent, 90 degrees. Take the left hand onto the knee and then open up. Maybe if you did so on the other side, you reach for the toe. Counterbalance, right hand reaches off to the left. If you're shaky, you fall out. That's fine, just come back in. Gaze comes back to the center. Everything comes back to the center. Right hand crosses over top of the left knee, and then that left arm reaches out behind you. Whew. Going into that twist, using the exhales to twist a little bit further. The gaze is the last thing. Can you see that thumb out behind you? Inhale, come back to center. Reach the hands up overhead. Straighten that leg. Point your toe. Lift the leg higher, a little millimeter higher. Last bit. And then hands to airplane. Reach way back. Step way back. High crescent lunge. Inhale, lift the heart. Take that back bend. And then exhale, hands down. 3 points of contact. Toes or knees. Chaturanga. Inhale, up dog, and exhale to down dog. Inhale that left leg back up to the sky. Open up the hips, moving into fire hydrant, coming up onto the right toes. Shoulders shift over the wrists, and then dropping. That left hand down, right leg extends nice and straight. Reach the heart and hips up. Dropping the head, reaching those left fingertips towards me. Take a gaze down at the mat. Left hand comes down. Extend that left leg back into three-legged dog. And then inhale. Pull it forward. Warrior 3. Windmill the arms up. And exhaling, settling down. Letting the heart rate come back down. Anytime we have those deep heart-opening back bends, can be hard to catch our breath. So then we alternate that with poses where we can focus on the breath and just slow everything down.
Take a look at the feet. Make sure you can see the big toe, the second toe, and then take the gaze out over that left middle finger. Everything just kind of falls away. The room around you becomes blurry, and that drishti, the focus, is straight out in front of you. Breathe. Bend into the left knee deeper for 3. That's 2. And 1. Windmill both hands down. Step right leg up to meet the left. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. And then inhale, rise up. Arms reach up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Going straight into this. Now we're going to work into crow. Inhale, reach up. And then exhale, sitting down into Utkatasana again. Into that chair pose, weights into the heels, all 10 toes, and then raising the heels into toe stands. Hugging the knees in together, seeing if you can come up high onto the balls of the feet, lower down, lower, lowering the hips lower, and all the way down until the glutes hit the back of the heels. Bring the hands down onto the mat, and then let the knees go out nice and wide. You can take the hands and start to reach them to the top of the mat, even off your mat. Heels are touching, knees are out wide, just drop the head. If you want to go a little bit further, you can go and wrap the backs of your triceps underneath the legs and then grabbing the heels. And then you can form even tighter of a ball. Now those blocks are close by. The crown of your head doesn't reach the mat. And go ahead and bring the block in to play so there's a place for your head just to relax down. Tight little ball here, opening up the hips. Keep drawing the knees away from you. You can even use those triceps to push the legs back. Just getting a nice tight ball here in preparation for going into crow pose. Now, I asked you before to have 2 blocks. You can keep the one if you used it for this malasana pose for your forehead. You can keep it there. The other block is helpful for you to come and stand up on. Now, you can shift yourself back a little bit more into the center of your mat. Step up onto the block on the lowest setting, please. Bring the balls of your feet onto it. Heels are just kind of falling off the end. And then you're going to take your hands at shoulder width distance apart. You're gripping the mat. So all that gripping we did in the warm-up, our fingertips act as brakes. So if we feel the weight shifting too far, when we're gripping the mat, that's our brake to keep us from going straight forward. If you're going to use this block for your head, you can maybe put it to start, if you're new to this, onto the highest setting or lower. You can play around with it. Now lift the hips up nice and high and bring those knees right up onto the backs of the triceps. Bring them up as high as you can, and then bending at the arms like chaturanga. Looking forward. This is where that block comes in handy, or maybe even the pillow. Bring that right heel up towards the glute. Right heel down, left heel up, and left heel down. Good. Bring the weight back down on, and let's step off the block. You can be in that malasana pose, just taking the hands, interlacing the fingers. If you feel this into your wrists, give them a nice little stretch. Let's try this again without the block underneath the feet. And maybe you can choose to take this block away, put a pillow underneath if you want. Again, hands firmly planted down. Feeling the palms of the hand, these where the fingers come down, gripping, and then bending the fingers a little bit, just so that the tips of fingers grip into the mat. The fingers don't need to be spread too wide. Too wide is not a good thing. More of a neutral. Lift the hips up. Feet are about 1 foot away from the heels of the hands. Coming up high onto the tippy toes, rounding the back, drawing that belly button into your spine, pulling the knees right up into the underarms, bending into the arms like chaturanga. And then maybe starting with one leg or bringing both toes up off the mat. If you can, pulling both heels in towards your glutes. Beautiful. Play around with that when you're ready. Bring the hands down. Bring the feet down into Malasana. You have 2 more counts. We'll try this again. Okay, feet hip width distance apart. Lift the hips up nice and high. Walk back to the top of the mat. Inhale, take that half lift, and then exhale, step that right leg back. Inhale, high crescent lunge. Look up, take the back bend, and exhale, hands come down. Floating, left leg back, vinyasa. Meeting back up in down dog. Inhaling that right leg up to the sky, opening up the hip, and then flipping the dog right over. Lift the hips up nice and high, and then square the shoulders. Right hand comes down, extend right leg back up, and then pull right knee back up towards the elbow. Let's do this. Working the core. Lower the knee down to the wrist, and then pull it back up. 2 more. Wrist and up. Last one, wrist and up. Lift the hips and place the foot down. Inhale, rise up, warrior 3, and exhaling, settling down. Take the gaze to the front hand. Flip the hand. Reverse the warrior. And then exhale to side angle. Right elbow comes down, left arm extends overhead. Inhale again, reverse. And exhale, side angle. Last one. Inhale to reverse. And exhale, side angle. Bring both hands down to the mat. Square the hips. Big step. Left leg comes back up to the right. Inhale, half lift. And exhale, back into chair pose. Arms come up overhead. And sitting down even lower. Let's go to the other side. Toe raises. Come up high onto the tippy toes. You know what you're doing. Lowering down. A little bit further, eventually the glutes coming back down onto the heels, and second chance here to just go into that Malasana if you choose, or if you want to attempt the crow pose again. We can even add on a little bit. I don't know if I'll be able to do it while talking. Step back. Let's find that crow pose first. Now, you can just watch, and then you can pause me, tucking in my shirt here, because I'll be doing an inversion. Hands, shoulder width. Fingertips gripping. High up onto the tippy toes. Knees come up into the underarms. And then finding that crow pose. Shifting the weight forward. Gaze comes forward. Big toes together. Oops. Good. Keep on leaning the weight forward. Now, can we go into a headstand? Lowering down, bending even further at the last minute, dropping the head, and then bringing both knees up. Sorry, can't do it while talking. And going into headstand. If you made that, good try. If you didn't like me, I'll try it when I get home. A little bit harder to do when we're talking. Now, if you're in headstand, can you draw the knees back down into the backs of your triceps, even pulling it really up high. Walk those elbows up into your underarm. And then, can you push back up into crow? That's the hard one. You got to shift your bum back And then see if you can push back up, chaturanga arms. Perfect. When you're done playing, take the feet back down, lifting the hips up nice and high, walking the feet back to hip width distance apart. Inhale, half lift, and exhale, left leg steps way back, high crescent. Inhale, rise up, take that back bend, and exhale, hands come down. Chaturanga, right leg, 3 points of contact. Inhale, up dog, and exhale to down dog. Inhale, left leg sweeps up and back, shoulders over top of the wrist, flip the dog, raising the hips and reaching. And then exhale back, three-legged dog. Inhale, come forward, left knee to the elbow. 3 times, lower it down to the wrist, pull it back up. Wrist and up. Last one. Wrist, raise the hips, and then drop the foot down. Inhale, windmill up, warrior 3, and exhaling, settling down. Flip the front hand. Inhale, reverse, and exhale, side angle. Really reach the right fingertips towards the front of the room. Inhale, reverse, and exhale, side angle. Last one. Inhale, reverse, and exhale, side angle. Drop both hands down to the mat, come up onto the ball of the right foot. Big step, right foot finds the left, top of the mat. Take that half lift. Exhale, forward fold, and then push to rise up. Look up. And exhale, hands to heart center. We have one more thing to do here. We're gonna do our side crow. Okay, let's inhale, reach up. And then exhale, sitting down into that imaginary chair. Bring your hands to heart center. I'm gonna face you guys, and then twist over to the right. Left elbow crosses over the right, and then just work into that twist. Draw right shoulder back. Take a look at your knees. Both of them should be in line. Weights back into the heels. You can still wiggle all 10 toes. Lower the hips even further. And bring them all the way down. Bring the hands down onto the right side of the mat. Now, some people find side plank easier. There's kind of an easy way to do it and a hard way. I'm going to show you the easier way first. So both fingertips are pointing off to the right. So you have to have the twist first. If you don't have the twist, then you have to find that first. So you keep on working in all those twisting poses. From here, plant the hands down again, shoulder width distance apart. That front elbow and tricep is hooking into the front knee. And then pull that right elbow in. And then you can find a little platform for that right hip to sit up on. So you lift the hips up a little bit, find that platform, and then shift the weight off to the right. Big toes together, chaturanga arms, and the legs will just lift. Keep on having the weight go forward. From here, it's easy or a little bit easier to take and extend that left leg up. Whew. Bring the left leg back down, and then come back to normal. Okay, showed you the easy way. Now we're gonna find the harder way. In the harder way, you're only balancing on your left arm. That right arm is free. So there's a couple different ways to do it. This is the way that I find the most balance on it. So I take my hands, my knees are pointing straight forward, and then I take the hands, there's a twisting into the torso, and I shift. Left hand first plants, and then right hand is imaginary, what it would be to be shoulder width distance. Everything's pointing towards the top of the mat. And then from there, I lift up my hips, and this elbow, I'm looking to find the middle of this quadricep leg, this femur bone. If I can find the middle, then I can shift the weight forward. I keep drawing that right elbow in, shifting the weight, pulling that mula bandha in, and lifting up the feet. So there's that way. Try it both ways, see what happens. You can pause me and then start me again. Let's go to the other side though, just so that we're nice and balanced. Walk the hands now over to the left side. Both hands are planted down onto the mat. We're gripping all 10 fingers. That front right elbow is hooked into that left knee. And then when I raise my hips, I can find the platform for my hip to come up onto the left elbow. I'm going to bend chaturanga arms, shift the weight forward, looking forward, and then raising the feet. Maybe raising that top leg too. You can put a pillow there. Lots of chance to play. If you want to try the one arm, bring the feet back down. This time everything's pointing forward. Fingertips need to point forward. Knees need to point forward. Seeing if you can go a little bit further into that twist so that that right elbow comes to the center of the femur bone. Arms are hip width distance apart. This is my bad side. Drawing in this left elbow. Can't go out. It has to keep drawing into center like it's hugging into the rib cage like our chaturanga. And then weight shifts forward and legs lift. Good. Keep trying that. It's lots of fun. Bring your feet back down to normal. We're going to roll all the way down onto the back. So I invite you, you can come back to this video at any time to find that full crow pose or the side crow. You can work, there's lots of great videos online of different tricks, but the big thing is pulling that mula bandha, pulling that navel into spine, and really rounding up through the shoulder blades. You need that strong shoulder girdle. If you're dropping down, it's just gravity's working against you. Everything drops. Come on to your back. Knees are bent. Let's just do a bridge and a wheel to close off this class. Knees are bent. Heels are kind of up close towards the glute. Hands are down by your hips. Walk your shoulder blades underneath, and then when you're ready, raise the hips up nice and high. You can keep on walking the shoulder blades until maybe you can find that interlacing of the fingers. And then bring your mind's eye to the knees. You don't have to visually see them, but what do they feel like? Do you feel like they're pointing out? Kind of with that malasana leg. If so, squeeze the inner thighs together, not to touch, but to keep the knees drawing straight forward. Lifting the hips up even higher and holding for 3, for 2, and last one. Lower the hips down, bring the knees together, the heels can go wide, just kind of tenting everything in. We're going to do one more time. This time you can choose to do a bridge or you can go into that full wheel. And catch your breath. And then when you have it, bent knees, legs firmly planted down onto the mat, tucking in, kind of rolling the pelvis up. Take the arms overhead and tuck the fingers for wheel in underneath the shoulders. Keep drawing the elbows together, lifting the hips first, and then maybe coming up, pushing into the hands, coming up on to the top of the head, maybe choosing to stay here or straighten the arms nice and straight into that full wheel. Either coming up onto the toes, shifting the weight forward and back, and then you're going to hold it. First strength, straight arms for 3, last 2, and last one, tuck in your chin and roll all the way back, hugging in your knees this time. Making a really tight ball like we did at the front of the class. Bringing the forehead all the way up to touch the knees. And just breathe. Let the shoulders come back down onto the mat. Let's hold on to the right leg. Let the left leg extend all the way down. We don't have to float it this time. Pull the right knee up even closer towards the underarm, feeling that compression into the right hip. And then letting the leg cross over your body onto the left side of the mat. Rolling up onto the left hip. Then taking the arms out as a T, supine twist, and the gaze can go in the opposite direction. Many different ways to do these supine twists. Whatever feels good for you, then go ahead and take it. Come back onto your back. Pulling both knees back into your chest, this time holding the left knee, right leg extends down. Pull that left knee in a little bit tighter, a little bit closer, feeling even more into that compression. Some people I see even like to hold on to the bottom of the foot. Maybe even extending the leg out nice and straight if that flexibility is there. And then letting up on that tension and cross leg over to the right side of the mat. Walking right shoulder out, left shoulder comes down, arms out as a T, gaze in the opposite direction. Heart rate should be all back down to normal. So you see, with crow pose, you want to build a lot into the strength. You don't want to just attempt those crow poses with a cold body or not geared up. So doing planks, doing our vinyasas, all of those step throughs, all about vinyasa. We do so many step throughs, going from down dog to stepping into our warrior sequences. All of those are preparation for our flying. And a crow is a great place to start, as well as headstand. Come back onto your back. Bring both knees into your chest. You can raise both feet up into happy baby. If you want to do a shoulder stance here, if you're feeling a little bit of more tension or heaviness into the legs, then maybe doing an inversion, letting the blood come back to your torso, back into your heart would be beneficial for you. Just if you're staying in happy baby, you can rock yourself side to side, massaging out that lower back. And then when you're feeling good with that, let go of the feet. You can make your way into an extended, longer Shavasana. We always recommend 2 minutes to be into the Shavasana, a minute at least. Find your comfort here. See how much space you can take back up onto the mat. This is about being heavy, about letting all the muscles and the skin just fall off the bone. No need to hold on to tension. Hands, palms can face up. And let go of the muscles around your eyes. Let go of your tongue. Even let go of your breath. Just let it go to its natural state. Closing your eyes. Maybe feeling the tingling of the hair follicles on your forehead, through the crown of your head. Feeling the heaviness of the legs. Feeling that lower back just getting weighted down. Feeling the shoulders just open up and fall away from you. It's like they're coming out of their holding area, out of their shoulder sockets, and they're just dropping towards the earth. Feeling the chest muscles fall away. Maybe now you'll invite some little movements with the middle fingers of both your right and left hand. And then from the middle finger, maybe you'll invite the movement of the pointer finger, the thumb, the little finger, the ring finger. Maybe balling the hands up together into a tight fist. And then letting the hands back go. You can take the feet and start to shake them, wiggling your toes, moving the ankles, shifting the feet from side to side. Maybe extending that in to where the full leg rotates in and then out. Maybe you'll add the arms as well, rotating in and out. And when the next time toes come in, just walk the feet back towards each other, big toes touching, and extend the arms up overhead. Maybe wrapping the thumbs around each other, and then let the arms just drop. And then let the shoulders fall away from the ears. A bit of a heart opening here. Feeling the more space that's been created in our lungs, in our rib cage, feeling length in our hips. And even feel some of that strength in through the quadriceps. When you're ready, roll on to one side or the other. It doesn't matter which side. And then just slowly, with very little energy, bring yourself up into a seated position. Maybe choosing to sit up on a block. The legs can be crossed in Sukhasana. Bring the hands to heart center. Flutter your eyes open. Drop the bow, or drop your chin down and lift your thumbs up to your forehead. And then just take this moment to go back to the intention that you set at the class. To maybe think of a thought of gratitude. To see the strength within yourself. To admire something new that you might have tried today, the courage that it takes to go into these arm balances. Take that big inhale in, and then exhale, namaste. Have a wonderful day, everyone.